A contention to Machiavelli's idea of morality, embracing ethical leadership. In The Prince, Machiavelli famously contends that the pursuit and maintenance of power may require rulers to discard traditional ethical norms. According to his view, successful leadership hinges on pragmatic, sometimes ruthless decisions that overlook conventional morality. However, history reveals that a foundation of ethical leadership not only yields enduring legitimacy, but also creates a society marked by trust, unity, and stability. This essay examines how the examples of Aristides, Cincinnatus, the moral teachings of Jesus, and George Washington serve as counterpoints to Machiavellian thought, demonstrating the timeless benefits of adhering to a moral code in governance. The pitfalls of a Machiavellian approach. Machiavelli's advice that rulers must frequently embrace deception or cruelty for the sake of power rests on a view of human nature steeped in pessimism. In his framework, the ends justify the means, a concept he believed necessary for statecraft. Yet this approach tends to sacrifice the very qualities that foster genuine loyalty and long-term societal cohesion. Rulers who resort to morally questionable tactics may secure short-term gains, but they often sow seeds of division and distrust, leading ultimately to instability. In this light, the Machiavellian outlook appears not as a blueprint for enduring success, but as a strategy fraught with moral and practical hazards. Aristides the Just, a beacon of virtue. Aristides, known in history as the Just, offers a compelling example of leadership grounded in fairness and virtue. In ancient Athens, his steadfast commitment to justice earned him the unwavering respect of his constituents and ensured a legacy that outshone fleeting political advantage. Aristides reminds us that moral integrity is not an impediment to effective governance. Instead, it creates the foundation for long-lasting respect and trust, a stark challenge to Machiavelli's notion that rulers must resort to immoral behavior to consolidate power. Cincinnatus, the model of civic duty and restraint. Cincinnatus, the celebrated Roman statesman, further illustrates the strength of ethical leadership. Called upon during a national crisis, he assumed absolute power to steer Rome through difficult times. Yet, in a move that underscored his commitment to public service over personal gain, he relinquished his power once the crisis subsided. His selfless act of stepping back when his authority was no longer necessary stands in direct contrast to the relentless power retention advocated by Machiavelli. Cincinnatus's behavior reinforces the idea that true authority is not measured by how long one holds power, but by the integrity and humility with which it is exercised. Moral vision in the teachings of Jesus. Religious and moral leadership also find an enduring exemplar in the teachings of Jesus Christ. Emphasizing compassion, humility, and self-sacrifice, Jesus presented a radical vision of leadership fundamentally different from the consequentialist calculus of Machiavellian politics. His radical call to love one's neighbor and to value service over subjugation has inspired countless movements for justice and reform. The ethical framework derived from Jesus' teachings shows that real power can be achieved and maintained without compromising one's moral values. This approach has provided a moral compass for leaders throughout the ages, offering an alternative narrative where ethical imperatives guide leadership decisions. George Washington, a paragon of moral political leadership. George Washington's leadership epitomizes the fusion of political authority with unwavering moral principles. After leading the American colonies to independence, Washington had every opportunity to seize autocratic power. Instead, by voluntarily stepping down after his presidency, he set a precedent for democratic governance and personal restraint. Washington recognized that his strength as a leader was not in holding on to power indefinitely, but in empowering a fledgling nation through trust, transparency, and ethical responsibility. His decision to forego monarchical ambitions reassures us that true leadership demands selflessness and steadfast adherence to principles, a stance diametrically opposed to Machiavellian pragmatism. Conclusion. While Machiavelli's analysis of power may offer insights into the darker aspects of political maneuvering, history teaches us that leadership devoid of moral foundation is inherently unstable. The legacies of Aristides, Cincinnatus, the moral teachings of Jesus, and George Washington collectively underscore the enduring value of ethical behavior in leadership. Their examples reveal that true power stems not from coercion or deception, but from a commitment to integrity, civic duty, and compassion. In dismissing morality for the sake of expediency, rulers risk undermining the very pillars on which a lasting and just society is built.